Oh, black people, it turns out our grandparents were right and our mamas and daddies was right when they said, I'm not going to be no organ donor because they're not going to try to kill me to try to take my organs.
So I came across this video on my For You, and I thought to share where this pan-colored man is having emotional and mental breakdown. He's calling upon all of the Americans. He was like, he does not care about color anymore at this point. He's calling upon people to come together in order to look for solution. Like, he was like, I cannot take this anymore, and you people shouldn't make this all about race. You people shouldn't, like, he was all blabbing, and in the whole sense, he just wants togetherness this time around because things are really getting into him right now. Lovelies, I'm just going to roll the clip because there's this stage that I put up here where a penciled man still responding to him. Leave me your own thought in the comment section of what you think of this video. Please subscribe to this channel and let's dive into it. I came across this video on my For You, and I thought to share where internet is reacting to the fact that the level of organ donations are getting high, and this is all because of the negligence and some of these hospitals allowing you to buy because you have an organ donor on your license. The thing is that it's getting more alarming and people are now talking about it. Please, I'm just going to roll the clip as well as some other
This morning, some in Congress say the public trust in the donation system is eroded after reports that dozens of supposedly dead donors actually showed signs of life. And now reform is on the table. News Nation Weekend anchor Anna Koyman joins us now. I mean, Anna, this elicits some really disturbing, visuals. What in the world is going on here, and how big of a problem is this?
Yeah, a lot of people looking at their licenses going, am I an organ donor? Let me double check here. The United States organ transplant system really looks to be in need of an overhaul. This comes after multiple accounts of close calls where patients' organs were almost harvested accidentally while they were still alive. Lawmakers on Capitol Hill Tuesday talking about results of a federal investigation and what they say is a need to protect people who plan to donate their organs. But of course, we all want to be fully dead first. That Health Resources and Services Administration's investigation was initiated last year after a 2021 case in Kentucky where a man was believed to be brain dead from an overdose, but doctors were wrong and surgery was called off just moments before he was taken off life support. A physician noticed the man moving and moaning while being taken to an operating room. Well, the man did survive all of this. And now Health and Human Services is announcing they want to improve the organ transplant system. Secretary Robert F. Kennedy Jr. saying the organ procurement organizations that coordinate access to transplants will be held accountable. The entire system must be fixed to ensure that every potential donor's life is treated with the sanctity it deserves. The HRSA investigation finding there were more than 350 cases where organ donations were approved but then canceled, sometimes at the last minute. And they all got a closer look. Nearly a third were of concern. That's including 73 cases where the doctors signed off for organ retrieval, but the patient wasn't fully dead.
There were clearly some things that happened that I think could constitute euthanasia. I mean, if the patient's dying, but they take the patient's organs before they die, that's euthanasia. We want to make sure that the American public knows that if they are willing to become an organ donor, they're going to be treated humanely and legally, and that the family's wishes will be respected.
I mean, of course. Among the things determined in the report was that donors hadn't had proper neurological assessments, consent practices were questionable, Markey, and some patients' cause of death were not classified correctly.
What you're about to hear isn't rare. It's disturbing, and it's happening more and more across the country. In New Mexico, a woman named Danella Gallegos was rushed to the hospital and declared beyond saving. Because she was listed as an organ donor, they began prepping her for organ removal. But right before it happened, she started blinking. She was crying. Her family swears she was responding. The transplant coordinator called it a reflex and suggested giving her morphine to keep her still. The hospital refused. Danella made a full recovery. Now here's the part that'll chill you. The same playbook showed up in Alabama. Misty Hawkins choked on a peanut butter sandwich and her brain was oxygen deprived, and doctors said she'd never breathe on her own again. And after life support was pulled, her heart was still beating, and some staff saw her gasping. Again, the transplant rep reportedly pushed for morphine to quiet the body and proceed. She survived too. And these aren't isolated cases. Federal records show 103 donation attempts were started before the patient was legally dead. 28 of them may have involved people who were still alive. And 55 medical professionals across 19 states have come forward about similar incidents. Here's the part that almost nobody talks about. In most states, when you check your organ donor box on your driver's license, it becomes a binding legal consent. And that means your spouse or your parents or your family, they lose the right to object, even if they believe there's still hope. Now let me be clear, this is not an anti-organ donation video. I 100% believe in it. It definitely saves lives. But I also believe in informed consent and in keeping families involved in life and death decisions. Whether you choose to be an organ donor or not, that choice should be yours, just like everything else about your body should be yours, if you know what I mean.
Good morning. I wanted to stitch this because it's important for people to know about organ donation. I used to work in organ donation as a recovery technician. I removed corneas. And I keep hearing stories about people going in for organ recovery after they've been declared dead just to find out that they're not. Yes, so if you don't know how organ donation works, let me explain. You can register or not on your license. It doesn't really matter either way, and I'll tell you why. There are reps that work for the organ donation companies whose sole job it is to hang out in hospitals and review the medical, I cut out there, I'm new to technology, so please. So there's staff for the organ donation networks that work solely in hospitals, watching patients who are not doing well, reviewing their medical records. Before you've even passed, they already know, oh, they're a good candidate, they're not, we're gonna call. So they're already poaching in the hospitals. If you die, whether your license says you're an organ donor or not, doesn't matter. What they do is call next of kin. They still have to have permission. If you're an organ donor and your next of kin says no, technically they can take it to court and fight you on it. But if organs aren't being recovered in 24 hours, it doesn't matter. And you're not going to get into court before then. And if you're registered no, that you do not want to be an organ donor, they will hound every family member, every friend, day or night, 3 a.m., it don't matter, to try to get them organs. No is not an acceptable answer. They have rebuttals. Not only do they have rebuttals, but they have quotas. They won't say they have quotas, but if your number is not meeting certain criteria, they're going to look in and see why, because you're not supposed to take no for an answer. Again, they have people working in the hospital who have reviewed your medical record while you are actively alive and getting treatment. They are vultures waiting for you to die and do whatever they can. And these people, they're not, I don't want to say they're bad people, but you know, bad people exist everywhere. They are brainwashed from these organ donation companies to think that this is the best because organ donation saves lives. I'm also an energy reader, and the energy from taking organs from someone who already decided they didn't want is really, really bad. So if you have any other questions about how organ donation works, please ask. Don't even get me started on the funeral industry because I used to be a mortician and I'm not anymore there either. The more you know.
Oh, black people, it turns out our grandparents were right and our mamas and daddies was right when they said, I'm not going to be no organ donor because they're not going to try to kill me to try to take my organs. Because according to the New York Times, they're saying there's some truth to what your grandparents was talking about. There's some truth to what your mom and daddy were saying. In the last 5 years, there has been an increasing amount of pressure from the federal government to organ procural organizations to increase how many organ donations they are doing. So now they have turned toward a new type of organ donation, which is not necessarily new, it's always been there, but they're using it more now, which is called circulatory death organ donation. Keep in mind that most organ donations are done via people who are brain dead, because being brain dead is confirmed. You go through multiple tests to confirm that your brain is no longer working, it's no longer active, and you are in fact dead. Circulatory death is more of a medical judgment call, because the people are on life support and they're in a coma, and in those cases they can wake up if given the time, and sometimes they don't, but this is why it's a medical judgment call, which is a more gray area. 59 medical workers in 19 states told the New York Times that each of them have seen at least one very fucked up case of circulatory death organ donation, at least one. Workers in several states reported to New York Times that they'd seen the organ donation coordinators pursuing the clinicians and telling them to give the patients morphine, propofol, and another drug that I'm not going to mess up the name of, in order to hasten the person who was on the life support's death. There was a federal investigation done in Kentucky because a man who was on life support was showing signs of consciousness, and the signs were he was shaking his head and he literally put his knees, he drew his knees to his chest, and those signs of consciousness were ignored. When they did the investigation, they also found that at least 73 potential donors showed signs of consciousness and they were ignored. Now, via text messages, audio calls, and a bunch of other stuff, they've also discovered there's at least 12 cases that are currently being investigated, or there was some wrong, weird, disturbing things happening with those cases. According to other doctors that they've talked to, the doctors are saying that even though these are what we have, the information that we have and reported of the problems, he thinks the problem is much worse. Now, according to the organ donation people, they're saying that these stories that you're reporting are small little crabs in a bucket. They don't reflect the big picture of how many lives we actually save. As I said, there's been an increased amount of pressure from the federal government to increase the amount of donations that they are doing, which is why within these last 5 years, they've been turning to circulatory death organ donation versus what they usually use, which is brain death or organ donation. Two things need to do for me. One, go read the actual article, because you should read the information for yourselves to make your own informed decisions. And two, are you going to keep organ donation on your ID? Or are you black people? I already know what you're going to say.
Organ donation is a business, and the fact that they're taking organs from people that are not clinically dead is no coincidence. The New York Times released an article that I have read, and it has put out all the dirt on organ donation. I read the article so you don't have to. A man in Florida was getting ready to go into the operating room to remove his organs for donation when he bit his breathing tube. Mind you, you're supposed to be brain dead. You're not supposed to be having any kind of movement. You're not supposed to be able to breathe on your own. The brain activity has to be gone before they remove your organs. Well, guess what? They still took him to the operating room and took his organs. How did we get here? In 2020, the government said to these organizations, which are non-profit, look, we're going to start grading you, because if you're not retrieving enough organs, you're going to be fired. Well, all of a sudden, organ donations are up. Yeah, I guess so. They're taking them away from people that are not clinically dead. Their brain is still functioning. Their heart is still beating. This article has only confirmed what we all have suspected, that they're taking organs from people that are not clinically dead. Organ donation is a business, and the fact that
this is one of America's dirty little secrets. When you get a driver's license and you put yourself down as an organ donor, you just made a contract with the state that your parents, your kids, nobody could overwrite. You've given them consent over what happens to you, not your loved ones. Many people don't know that. New York Times just wrote a story about how there's a lot of people who could have been saved and weren't because they were organ donors. RFK is breaking this too. RFK Jr. is talking about there's a lot of people who could have been saved, but because they were organ donors, when they see a sign of life on you and you're an organ donor, there's a transplant coordinator in the room. Transplant coordinator. You know what that person will tend to say? Put them on morphine. Get them on morphine. Oh, so they don't feel no pain. No, so that you don't show any sense of life. If people see tears, if they see your eyes blinking, if they see you taking a breath, those are signs of life. Transplant coordinator comes in and says, put them on morphine. No more signs of life. They make billions off organs. We know that. They give zero to the family. Nothing. And if you've signed up to be an organ donor, you've already given them consent over your family. If I removed mine, you should remove yours. I'm just saying, it's profit over people. It's how corporations work. Hospitals are corporations. They're in it for the money. They don't care about anything else. More and more, I think there's 21 states where medical officials are coming out saying, yeah, we could have saved those people. But the coordinator said put them on morphine, and then the organs were taken. Sorry, it's something I get passionate about. Is this one of...
It's just so unfortunate that there are very good human beings on earth, but there is still worst of us on this planet Earth. People are writing their or that they wrote yes on their organ donor, you know, in their license, because they feel like when they are passing and unable to be saved anymore with their good hearts, they feel that some of their organs should be used to save someone else that has the opportunity to be saved. I think this is the reason why people actually, try to like say a yes on their license during this, registration. They do that because of humanity. They do that because of love. They do that because they actually want to help, even at their time of the worst. They still want to help a fellow human being. But it's so disappointing that there are some evil human beings that will go as far as not wanting to save you, or because you have this in your license. Nobody is actually discouraging anyone to have all of those things in their license, but the way at which the world is going right now, that people do not even have any form of human sympathy. People are not human anymore. People have gotten to the extent of being so wicked. The people that a lot are looking up to save them are actually the ones, unaliving them. Hospitals, a place of recovery, a place to heal, a place of hope. Hospitals are supposed to be a place when you go, oh, with all of the pains you have, immediately you get to the hospital and a doctor is attending to you. You feel this sense of hope that, oh, I'm going to be saved right now. These are the people that so many people are looking up to. Hospitals, doctors, nurses, and all of the medical or whatsoever are the people that is being looked up to get saved as an individual. But right about now, because of you have this organ thing on your license, immediately you are even like sometimes it's so disappointing at this point, because with this development, people who intend to want to save people with their whole heart are even scared, because they don't even know if they are going to be saved. Imagine not being gone, but you are forcefully tied. You are forcefully put on a stage that makes you look like you are gone, because you have this on your license, because you want to make money out of it. And the thing is that when they make this money, they don't even remember your household, even your mother that gave birth to you. Your your household might be suffering, but they are making excesses from you. You know, the woman who created, the woman that God used to create you, have nothing to even, she might even be suffering and wallowing. And these people intentionally end you because of what? Uh, like people say that because of money and all of that, but how can you sell your own soul because of money? How can you do that to your own fellow human being? You know deep inside of you that this person has a chance. Why can't you allow this person to use their chance? I thought most of these medical practitioners, they have an oath to swear, like they have these oaths to be sworn that they have sworn to save people's lives. So what happened? Or is it just fake everywhere? Like when I saw this, I was like, it's getting scary because some of this organ thing is automatically in your um your document. It's either you just option for it, like no, but if you don't, it's some of it. So some countries just have it automatically in your document. Well, at the course of this, stage, I get to know that some people, I think someone was talking about it in UK, that you just automatically have it in your document or residence or what's the bill. It's only removed if you challenge it and tell them that okay, I don't want to have it. But if you don't say nothing, automatically you have it even without your consent. I don't know how true is that, but I saw somebody complaining and talking about it. So you really need to check yourself out. Try to check your driving license, your whatsoever, just to be at the safe side. And the issue of your family not having a say is even making it difficult. Is there a way that when you even want to have this dinner thing, your family should have a say? Just in case your family should have a say on when they want it to be donated. At least, at least that will reduce the level of paying you. When I mean pie, I mean KILL. Okay, your family should at least have a say. Like lovely. So when I saw this, I thought that I was just gonna put it up here. Please leave me your own thought in the comment section of what you think of this video. Please subscribe to this channel if you're yet to do that, and I will see you lovely when I upload the next one. Please do not just leave me your own thought in the comment section of what you think of this video. And please do not forget that we do not support any form of bullying and harassment. We're just here for educational and informative purposes. So lovely, if you've not subscribed to this channel, do your girl a huge vote to click on the subscription button. Like, and I will see you lovely when I upload the next one.